Hi everybody, I'm George Riles at Last Chance Arch, and it's time for another thing a week. But before I get into that, I want to go over a couple things. One thing, only 16% of you that are watching these videos are subscribed, and it helps us out a lot if all of you would subscribe, and it benefits you to subscribe because you'll get a notification when the next video comes out. So do us a favor, take a second, click the button. Okay. Also, you can get lessons from me if you go to improvemyarchery.com. I do online lessons which work great. I can also do in-person lessons, and you can come to my shop and get lessons there with me. Improvemyarchery.com. You can go there, look at my calendar, see when I'm available, pick a time that makes sense for you, and I'll see you when you get there for your lesson. So you can also get a seminar from me. I can come to your shop or local archery club, put on a weekend-long show. It's a great way to get a lot of customers in your shop and get everybody energized about archery at the same time. So all you got to do is contact me through the website there at improvemyarchery.com, and we can talk about a day or a date that works best for you. So that all being said, here we go for another thing a week. So today's thing a week is going to, I've set up this rig here to demonstrate what happens when you move the sight up and down the bar. And every internet coach in the world has told you you must have a solid anchor and it must be really drilled into place and immobile. That's not exactly true. With a recurve bow back in the 60s, you had to have a solid anchor and it had to be immobile, and it was always right here. You had to always touch your nose to the string so that when you aimed uphill or downhill, your head stayed normal to the bow with a recurve. But today, with compound bows, we have a peep sight. And our anchor is so accurate with a peep sight, it's as accurate as the hole size that you use. And I recommend that you use the smallest hole size that you can easily see through. And you want contrast between whatever your aiming point is and the target. So take it all the way down as small as you can so that you can have an accurate anchor. And the past thing of weeks, I went through the big four, and one of those steps was looking through the peep sight. Our body is our consistency, and that's where the variation is. The bow is very consistent all by itself. So the variation that we experience when we're shooting is us. So we want to set our bodies up to the target, draw the bow, put the peep in front of our eye. This is the important part. Look through the peep before you touch your anchor. And I'm going to demonstrate why. Because depending on where your sight is up and down the bar, it depends on where you have to anchor to be able to see the sight. Now in this little rig right here, I have it set up so my sight is on 20 yards. And we can see through the eye of the phone, we can see through the peep, and the little ground dot in the middle of my lens is right in the middle of the peep, right? So for 20, that's good, but watch what happens when I lower, when I put my sight. I'm just going to go to the extreme. I'm going to go down to 100, right? So I got my sight down to 100, and you can see when I move it down to 100, if I leave my anchor in the exact same place, I'm looking under the peep at the scope, because as the scope moves down the bar, the anchor has to go down. Now watch this. I'm going to take my finger. I've got the new Last Chance drawboard here, the 2.0 drawboard. It's got a strap and a hook, and it's got a great little bow holder that you can set up. Very much improved. But what I'm going to do to alter my anchor is I'm just going to push down on this strap until I can see the ground dot through the peep. Now over here, I have a tape measure set up so that I can see how much I have to change my anchor in order to be centered with the dot in the scope again. And that's almost a 1/4 inch difference in my peep to go from 20 to 100. So that gives you the idea, or gives you a good view of why you look through the peep first before you touch your face. Now, a lot of people say, well, I really love my hand on my face like this. Well, you can have that set up at one distance, but then you have to vary that a little bit based on where the scope is. So if you have a tack event or a like 1440 FITA or something where you're going to have your sight at 100, you may want to set your peep height where you can get the anchor that you like the feel of for those longer distances. Or you can do what I do. I set my anchor for the mid-range, but I anchor with just the side of my finger. So if I'm shooting 3 yards and I have to anchor up here, or if I'm shooting 100 yards and I have to anchor down here, I just touch the side of my finger to my face. And the reason that I even have to touch is so that this unsteadiness doesn't upset the steadiness of the sight. So look through the peep before you touch your anchor. The peep will tell you where to anchor for the greatest consistency and accuracy. So that's it for today's Thing a Week, and I'll see you next week.